Good afternoon. My name is Linda Orozco, and I have the pleasure of serving as board president for the YWCA Yakima. On behalf of our director, Sherry Kilty, the entire board of directors, and the dedicated staff and volunteers, and most importantly, the families we serve, thank you for joining us today in the 2021 Leadership Luncheon. We are pleased to offer our luncheon virtually again this year and appreciate all of you that have tuned in, ready to support this important effort. You can make donations throughout the event by texting YWCA to 56512 or donating online at ywcayakima.org. Your financial gift makes sure safety and services are available when they are needed most. Your contribution will help support our organization's mission to eliminate racism and empower women. Please make sure you stay tuned for this entire event because we'll be doing an exciting raffle to win a Dave Navarro autographed guitar at the very end. Decades ago, I was invited to attend the luncheon. My favorite true crime author, Anne Rule, was the featured speaker. At that time, I had zero knowledge of what the YWCA Yakima offered our community. My intention was to enjoy a nice lunch and hear Anne speak. I enjoyed every aspect of her presentation, but I was truly moved by the local survivor story. It was my first experience of hearing a survivor speak of her abuse, and it was in front of 600 people in the audience, total strangers. Yet she was brave and resilient to her past, focusing only on telling her story to save others. I was moved to become an individual donor, and over time, I had the opportunity to influence my employers to participate from a corporate level, knowing that it takes an entire community of volunteers and donors to offer these services. I am proud to give where I live. This luncheon is our most impactful fundraising event to help our efforts in spreading the message, break the silence, stop the violence. The funds raised from it will help us continue to serve over 13,000 people a year. Our crisis line rings over 5,000 times a year. It's important that those brave callers are connected with the help they need when they make that call. During the pandemic of 2020, we saw a 30% increase in those calls, so the need for our services is greater than ever. In the 27 years, this event has gone from less than 500 people to over 1,200 community leaders attending to learn more about the needs of our community. When COVID disrupted our efforts in 2020, there was a genuine concern for our ability to raise the necessary funds when we had to switch to virtual events. However, you did it. All of you did it. You kept our doors open so our families could continue to live in peace. We learned from that experience that nothing will prevent us from our efforts. Not an abuser and not a pandemic. Nothing. Today you will hear from our survivors as well as the family members that are affected when young women are put in danger at the hands of someone they once trusted and once loved. You will hear how they continue to survive, how they've devoted themselves to make sure that every victim knows how to reach out, who will be there for them, and why the team at the YWCA shows up every single day. We do this for them, for their children, and for the parents that should never have to bury their child because of violence. There are not enough ways to say thank you for the major sponsors of this event. Many of them have had a continuous sponsorship year after year, knowing that this support truly creates a positive impact on our families. So thank you. Thank you so much. Academy Mortgage, CoBank, Mariana Morales Law, Northwest Farm Credit Services, and Pace International. We are thrilled that Dave Navarro has generously agreed to participate again this year. For those of you who don't know, Navarro is a guitarist, a singer, songwriter, filmmaker, television and radio host. Best known as an original member of the iconic rock band Jane's Addiction, he has focused his life on taking a stand against domestic violence. In 2015, Navarro released his first feature film, a documentary entitled Morning Sun. Shot over 7 years, the film tells the gripping and traumatic story of his mother's murder by her ex-boyfriend and the fallout it caused in his life. In 2016, Dave created the hashtag Put the Nail in It campaign. The idea behind this movement is simple. By painting your ring fingernail purple, the official color of domestic violence, you are showing the world your vow to help spread awareness of domestic violence and displaying your support. Let's take a moment and listen to Dave's important message.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Dave Navarro, and I'm really, really honored to join the YWCA Yakima event. Thanks for having me. Well, my history with domestic violence goes back to the 80s when my mother, Connie Navarro, was dating a man who was violent, who was aggressive, and when she broke it off with him, he ended up murdering her and my aunt. So in addition to seeing violence around the home and seeing violence in their relationship, it ended with the ultimate tragedy of death. The perpetrator went into hiding and was on the run for 8 to 10 years, something like that. There was always a cloud of feeling unsafe. We didn't know if the guy was going to come back and take out the rest of the family. We were really frozen in fear for 8 to 10 years. I was put in a position where I was in elevated fear for a decade. And that's abusive. It's abusive to do to somebody. Not long after, never went to a bereavement group, never went to counseling. I turned to drugs and alcohol as a way to soothe myself, which really only made my life much, much worse. There really wasn't the phrase domestic violence, and there was really no understanding of that being, an important issue at the time. We didn't have, support systems in place to turn to, so we just kind of made the best of our lives and moved forward the best we could. And it wasn't until years later, hearing about domestic violence, where it occurred to me that, wow, I lived through the most domestic violence that one can live through, which is tragedy. I have found that the counseling and the therapy has been instrumental in terms of me moving forward. And frankly, having music as an outlet really was helpful too, because I was able to channel a lot of that energy and pain and fear into a craft that I was able to get lost in, which was, I'm really grateful for. I was contacted by Safe Horizon, which is a shelter for families that are in domestically violent situations and looking for a safe harbor, somewhere to go. I was invited to do a campaign called Put the Nail in It, which was we would paint our fingernail purple. And it was really more of a conversation starter. Naturally, someone would ask, why is that fingernail purple and nothing else? I would say, oh, well, this is because there's this organization, Safe Horizon, that provides housing for families that need to get away from a volatile situation. I think that there's sometimes a lot of shame attached to being in a domestically violent situation, which keeps people from reaching out and asking for help because they don't want to be judged for being in the situation to begin with. Well, we're saying there is no judgment, there is no shame to reach out for help immediately, whether that is contacting law enforcement, whether that is contacting a counselor or a therapist or finding some shelter. Typically these things escalate, they don't de-escalate. So if you find yourself in a situation where you need some help, I would beg you to find that help immediately and cast the shame aside, because the shame could kill you. I think one of the ways in which I have come to the place where I'm at in my life is by understanding that I do have somewhat of a platform and to use it in a way that can be of service and helpful to others. I think that I have lots of experience of trying to use my own platform to benefit myself. It's really not a great payoff, but when I use my platform to promote things that really matter and that can help others and that can give back, I think that is probably one of the most profound ways that I can do it. Anyone who supports this organization, this is one of the most beautiful things and one of the most amazing gifts that you could give, because what you're doing is allowing a family, allowing women and children and men sometimes too, you're allowing them an opportunity to start over. The whole world now has been traumatized on a global level, and it's already tough enough out there, and we have families that are in fear for their lives every day, living in the COVID era and in a domestically violent situation that has got to be the most hopeless feeling and state of existence. So I would urge people to do whatever they could to support these groups that provide this housing and provides this care for people, because if we can't be part of the solution, then we're still part of the problem. Anytime I get a chance to speak about the subject, I take it, because I think it would have been valuable for me to know that I wasn't alone. Because one of the things that I dealt with as a teenage kid was that I felt very alone and isolated and didn't have anyone to talk to and didn't have anyone to share with. So that's why I'm here today.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dave, for your message. Thank you again for being a part of our event this year. Earlier, I indicated that the local survivor stories are so important to be heard. Their willingness to share their most private, most difficult times of their lives is what keeps others alive. Our 2021 survivor is Crystal. It is with much appreciation, respect, and honor that I introduce her and allow her to share her story.
My name is Crystal. I have 2 daughters. Jeremy and I have been together for almost 4 years. He's magical. That sounds so silly, but he truly is. Chloe is 14. She's nice. She's so loyal. Charlotte is 3. She's a little firecracker. She just loves life. She loves to be outside and she loves other kids. I'm hoping that when she grows up and she realizes that I was in treatment when I gave birth to her, I hope she just realizes the true gift of life, because that's what it's all about. We met in 2011. I felt like it was kind of love at first sight. She was beautiful. We really hit it off. The relationship moved very fast. I thought that that was normal. There were times where she would come to my work and have breakfast. It was like an everyday thing. Why is she coming every day? She said, just so I could be near you. We weren't really in love. I was in love, but looking back, I don't really feel like she was ever in love with me. She just wanted the resources that I could provide her, and she wanted a baby, and I gave her that opportunity. She had me exactly where she wanted me. I was controlled. I was mentally and physically abused. I had a knee surgery a couple years into our relationship. The prescription pain medicine that I was taking helped me. It made living with her bearable. I continued to use pills, which then turned into methamphetamines. And within 4 years of us dating, I was completely hooked on meth. I was arrested in 2014. I struggled with meth for another 3 years, and in 2017, I was arrested for stealing my parents' identity. About 6 months before I was arrested in 2017, we split up. I came home one day and my house was completely empty. This time it wasn't just a 5-day, jail stint. I was in there for 3 months. The life that I had, I no longer wanted. It no longer was of purpose to me. I was first introduced to the YWCA while I was in the treatment program. My teacher of that class was Miriam, and she has been my biggest supporter through the whole entire program. I cry because even to this day, I haven't lived at the YWCA for a year. She is no longer my mentor. She is my friend. She knows the struggles of domestic violence and of drugs, and she also knows how far we can come as women. She makes me feel so empowered that what I'm doing is right, and I'm in the right place in my life. Everything was so safe, and they were my new family. If I didn't have the YWCA and that stability of their program, I honestly don't know if I would have went back to using drugs. But because I had the stability of the YWCA within that first 24 hours of graduating treatment, I'm here now. Don't stay quiet. The longer that we're quiet, the more these individuals that are abusing us, it's gonna give them more power. I stayed quiet for a really long time because I didn't have the support that I needed at the time, but I'm not quiet anymore. If you're out there and you have the means to donate, please donate. You are literally saving lives. The YWCA program saved my life. It saved my daughter's lives. Please continue to donate, or if you haven't donated yet, please do so. There are many women in Yakima and all around the world that need your help, and they can't do this program without you. So please, please donate.
Crystal, thank you again. Thank you for what you have shared with us and the impact you have made on so many that are watching. We wish you continued success with your journey of moving forward. We're now going to hear from a man who had his entire world turned upside down. Brian Harris has been a fun and impactful business owner in our community for decades, but this hasn't come without his share of hardships. Last year, he got a call that no father should ever receive, finding out that his daughter Emily had been tragically murdered by her husband. Since that very moment, Brian and his family have made it their mission to make Emily's name live on through supporting the YWCA. We'll now hear from Brian about what Emily means to them and will continue to mean to our community even after her passing.
Hello folks, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brian Harris. I'm from Seattle, Washington. In 2020, January, my daughter Emily Harris's life was taken in domestic violence, and it was a tragedy to our life. It rocked our community so hard because there's no way somebody's life could be taken the way my daughter's was, to be brutally have it happen in her own home. In a small town like Selah, right next to the police station, someone's life can get taken in domestic violence. That doesn't seem possible. So I want you to think about your daughter, your mother, your sister living in fear of verbal abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, going through their day frightened. These ladies just want to have a normal life. They have children. The YWCA is willing to take donations of clothing, food, car seats, strollers to help these ladies get going. They have short-term housing and long-term housing, and they also have a great inner compound. They have a play area for the kids where nobody can get to them, so they're safe. We've all got extra money in our pocket. Me and my wife would like to donate $1,000 today to the YWCA. The $1,000, it won't change our life in the long term, but we're hoping that will change the life of the ladies that need help. So I really appreciate you listening to me today. I'd like you to remember to live like Emily. Emily Harris was a great girl. She had 2 children, Dominic and Olivia, that me and my wife have care of now. And I'd like you to think about Live Like Emily is the thing that we want you to do to help other people. Emily was a girl that cared about other people. She did things for other people. She always made sure people felt welcome. She made sure if you were on the outside, she put you in the group. She was a good kid. She was a 3-time state volleyball champion. She was a coach at YWCA Community College for volleyball. She was a teacher at Perry Technical Institute. She did a lot of things in her 30 years. So now the last thing that my daughter's trying to do is to save lives. And we know that she's saved at least 15 ladies that I know of that have contacted us. Thank you again for coming today. And please give a little bit of money. It would help these ladies out tremendously. So with that, I hope you have a blessed day and live like Emily.
Thank you, Brian, and your entire family for all that you have done to keep the doors open for the YWCA Yakima. We appreciate your efforts, and we thank you so much. As we wrap up this event, I would like to thank everyone that participated, every viewer that agreed to send in what they could today, and the viewers that agreed to become a monthly sponsor. Every single dollar raised is well invested. Thanks to Dave, Crystal, Brian, for sharing your real-life journeys. Special thanks to the local eateries, Healthy Eats, The Lab, Mango's Grill, and Eric the Mercedes Kid that created delightful food selections. I hope you all enjoyed. For Sherry Kilty, Lisa Capuzza, and every employee at YWCA, thank you for the continued love and support that you have for the families, staff, and each other. We are able to move forward today because of the strength shown by you in your leadership. And last but not least, our fundraising chairs, Bryn Johnson, Ruxar Kamali, and Amy Yorker. They brought this event to an entirely new level by partnering with Cody Beebe and Digital Vendetta Productions, as well as Cap TV and Hispana Television. So many more people are being reached because of those efforts. These women have given so much. They've put in countless hours of work, and our continued success over the years has everything to do with their efforts. So thank you again. Once again, if you're looking to make a donation, please visit ywcayakima.org or text YWCA to 56512. What a tremendous afternoon. Thank you so much to everybody that shared their story, attended, and stayed with us to the very end. Right now, we're going to go on over to Amy Yorger, who will be drawing for the winner of the Dave Navarro autographed guitar. Thank you so much. Have an awesome rest of the day.
Thank you very much, Linda. Well, I have the honor to draw for this absolutely gorgeous red guitar that has been signed by Dave Navarro himself. We are awarding a lucky winner from all of our valued sponsors of this year's Leadership Luncheon. We thank you for your generous support so we can continue to provide service to those that are affected by domestic violence. So I'm going to draw the lucky winner right now. And here we go. Oh, there's so many tickets in here. It's so exciting. Okay, the lucky winner is 383063. That's 383063. If this is your number, you have won this guitar. You can go ahead and contact us at the YWCA. Your guitar will be ready for you, so check your numbers, and thank you very much for supporting our local YWCA.